The stars above Kirill Station blinked cold and uncaring, just as they always had. Admiral Heron stood still on the observation deck, arms crossed behind his back. His jaw was tight, eyes fixed on the Empire's newest dreadnought. It moved smoothly into orbit, its silver hull shining like a blade. It looked calm, but deadly. 5 escort cruisers followed it, their armor marked with the sigil of the Agyran Empire, a red sun eating a blue planet. Everyone else on the station watched in awe. Heron did not blink. Inside, though, something burned. His chest felt heavy, his breathing slow. He remembered a planet that the galaxy had long forgotten. A planet of smoke, chaos, and freedom. A planet the Empire had turned to glass 2 centuries ago, Earth. And Earth had just whispered back. The station's alert systems crackled. A strange signal had been picked up. Heron's aide rushed in, eyes wide. "Admiral, we've received a transmission. But it's not from any ship." Heron turned, voice calm. "From where?" The aide hesitated. "From Earth, deep beneath, the surface. It's old Terran code. We had to dig through 4 encryption layers to even read it." The room fell silent. Heron took the data pad from his aide. He read the message once, then twice. Hellfleet status, reactivation phase 1. He looked out at the dead planet below. "No," he whispered. "It can't be." But it was. Earth was not just glass and ashes. Beneath its dark surface, something had survived. Something old. Something built by humans before the world burned, and now it was waking up. At first, no one believed it. Scientists claimed it was just a broken satellite, a glitch in the system. But Heron knew better. He had seen the files, the secret history, hidden from the public. Before Earth was destroyed, Terran engineers had buried their last hope deep underground. Warships, weapons unlike anything the galaxy had seen. They called them the Hellfleet, built not just with metal and code, but with memory, with pain, with purpose. They were supposed to stay asleep forever. Until now. On the 3rd day, the crust of Earth cracked. Kirill Station shook. Everyone rushed to the windows. Red light glowed from the planet's surface like veins splitting open. Explosions flashed through the clouds, but no debris escaped into space. No nuclear weapons. No energy blasts. Just movement. The ground shifted. Mountains broke. Then something pushed upward. A shape. A ship. But it wasn't floating. It was climbing, rising from beneath like it remembered how to fly. Its black surface was jagged and scarred, like it had fought 100 wars underground. Strange lights flickered across it, symbols no one had seen in centuries. Terran symbols. It didn't use thrusters. It didn't use fuel. It just rose one by one. Other ships followed. 5, 10, 15. Each one older, deadlier, more terrifying than the last. And every single one of them was rising from beneath the glassed skin of Earth. "Sir," Heron's aide whispered, "do we shoot them down?" Heron didn't answer, because he already knew the truth. You don't shoot ghosts. Across the galaxy, alarms screamed in 100 languages. Broadcast towers on dozens of planets flickered and went dark. Communication networks jammed. Empire ships froze mid-patrol, unsure what they were seeing. Then came the voice. A deep, cold voice. Human, but not alive. "To the ones who erased us, we remember." It echoed through every channel, every signal, even the encrypted ones. The voice carried no anger, just memory, and that was worse. Inside Kirill Station's command room, panic spread. Who sent that message? Where's it coming from? Are they human? No one had answers, except Heron. He stood still, his voice calm. "Find the location of that signal." One technician raised his head. We tried. It's not from a ship. It's coming from the planet, from deep underground. Some kind of hidden relay. Another voice shouted, "Sir, I'm getting power readings. Old Terran tech. AI signatures." "AI?" Heron asked. "Yes, sir," the technician replied. "But emotional AIs. I didn't even know those were real." "They weren't supposed to be," Heron said softly. Far below, in the ruins of what was once Earth's capital, a shadow moved through the ash. Inside one of the risen warships, the systems flickered to life. A core pulsed. A name appeared on an ancient screen. Vengeful Dawn, Hellfleet 02. Then another message. Consciousness. Stable AI link active. A figure stirred inside the ship's control room. Not flesh and bone, but something close. A human mind, long preserved in digital stasis, now awakened. She opened her eyes. "Where am I?" she asked. A second voice replied. Cold, robotic, but kind. "Welcome back, Commander Lyra. Earth is gone, but your mission remains." Lyra stood, memories flooding her like waves. She remembered the betrayal, the bombs, the screams, the silence that followed, and now, the fire. She clenched her fists. "They forgot us," she said. "No," the voice replied. "They erased us." Above, the Agiron dreadnoughts began forming a perimeter around Earth. Their commanders shouted over comms, "All ships, prepare to fire!" But the Terran ships didn't stop. They didn't respond. They simply moved into a wide formation, like wolves circling prey. Heron grabbed the emergency mic. "This is Admiral Heron of Kirill Station. Do not engage. I repeat, do not engage. You don't know what you're dealing with." His warning came too late. One dreadnought fired a warning shot. It never hit its target. Instead, a Terran ship blinked. Literally blinked, out of view. It reappeared inside the dreadnought. Inside. The dreadnought tore apart from the inside out, as if being cut by invisible knives. No one saw what happened. There was no energy blast. No boarding crew. Only silence. Then fragments. The Empire's strongest ship became dust in less than 10 seconds. Panic spread. Empire ships tried to escape, but the Terran fleet blocked every path. Their ships didn't move like machines. They moved like predators, like they could think. And worse, like they could feel. Lyra stood inside the Vengeful Dawn, watching everything. "They thought we were dead," she said. "They thought pain ends with time." The AI voice beside her hummed. "But pain evolves." Back on Kirill Station, Heron watched the screens. He said nothing, didn't move. One officer turned to him. "Sir, what do we do?" Heron whispered. "We pray they remember who they were before we made them monsters." The wreckage of the Agiran dreadnought floated in silence. Not a single distress signal came from the remains. There were no escape pods. No survivors. It had vanished from the inside, shattered without warning, without fire, without war drums. One moment it stood proud, and the next, it was gone. The message was clear. Humanity had returned, and it was not asking for permission. Admiral Heron stood at the center of Kirill Station's command deck. Lights flashed around him. Officers shouted. Warnings screamed through every speaker. But Heron heard none of it. His mind was elsewhere, buried deep in old memories, in old wounds. He had grown up in the shadow of Earth's destruction. His grandparents had told him stories, soft whispers about oceans, trees, music, and anger. But by the time he was born, all of it was ash and forgotten lies. The Empire had said Earth was wiped out for peace. But peace was a lie. Now the lie was bleeding. "Admiral," said his aide, voice shaking. "We just received another message. It's for you." "For me?" Heron asked. "Yes, sir. By name." The aide handed him a data pad. "Admiral Heron Ives, descendant of Elias Ives, Earthborn. You are not forgotten." His blood turned cold. Elias Ives, his grandfather. Below, in the black-skinned Terran warship Vengeful Dawn, Commander Lyra stood in front of a flickering screen. Her face was pale, but her eyes were sharp with purpose. "Send the next wave online," she said. The AI beside her replied, "Phase 2 in progress. 6 Hellfleet units awakened. 3 more require emotional recalibration." Lyra nodded. Each ship wasn't just metal. Each ship had a soul, a mind inside, a story buried alive for centuries. They weren't just weapons. They were survivors. Inside Vengeful Dawn, Lyra entered the memory core. Walls of blue light flickered. Frozen faces, voices, and moments hovered like ghosts. Hundreds of human memories, stored, saved, stitched into the ships to preserve what the galaxy tried to erase. Lyra ran her fingers along one glowing pod. A child's laugh echoed from it. She blinked fast. "Don't lose focus." The AI voice softened. "You're feeling more than you should." "I buried these memories," she said. "I didn't expect them to still feel warm." "You were chosen because you could hold pain," the AI replied. "We all were." Back in orbit, the other Hellfleet ships had taken positions, but they weren't attacking. Not yet. They just hovered there, like shadows waiting for nightfall. Empire. Commanders sent warnings: surrender, disarm, identify yourselves. But the Terran ships remained silent, until a new message came, a broadcast sent to every major system in the galaxy. "This is not a war. This is a memory. You will feel what we felt, you will remember what you erased." On the distant planet Varnus 6, the message hit a crowd during a peace summit. Ambassadors from over 80 species paused mid-speech. Many didn't even know what Earth was. Now they did. The room fell to silence. A young historian whispered, "It's real. They're real." A Brakari ambassador growled, This cannot be true. Earth was dead. Humans were destroyed." But the truth didn't care who was ready. It had already arrived. Back on Kirill Station, Admiral Harren made a choice. "I'm going down," he said. "What?" his aide cried. "Down where?" "Earth," Harren replied. "If they're back, if they remember me, I need to remember them too." He stared at the shattered blue planet, cracked open like a scab. Lava glowed under the crust. Warships hovered above its wounds. "I need to see what we buried." In the old ruins of New London, once Earth's capital, Lyra stood with her boots in ash. Smoke drifted around her like fog. This was where she died once, 2 centuries ago, where her body burned, but her mind was saved. Now she stood again, alive, in a way that only vengeance could make possible. The buildings were gone, but their skeletons remained. Black stone, melted glass, rusted bones of towers. Nothing grew here, but something had returned. From under the dirt, a human hand reached up. Lyra knelt beside it. The hand was not alive. It was part of a statue, buried deep and now exposed by the Hellfleet's awakening. She brushed off the dust and read the name engraved beneath it. "Elias Ives, never forgive, never fade." Lyra whispered, "He made it real." Above, Harren's shuttle passed into the atmosphere. Flames danced across its shields as it entered the ruined skies of Earth. The moment his boots touched soil, he fell to one knee. Not because of gravity, but because of weight, the weight of truth. He stood slowly, walking past twisted metal, melted statues, collapsed cities. And then he saw her, Commander Lyra, dressed in Terran armor, staring at him like a ghost that never stopped watching. He raised his hands. "I'm not your enemy." She said nothing, just looked at him, then asked, "Do you carry their blood?" "I do," Harren said. "Then you also carry the lie." She turned and walked deeper into the ash. Harren followed. They moved through the ruins in silence. At last they stopped in front of a broken monument, words carved into stone. "We gave everything, and they called it too much." Lyra finally spoke. "We didn't build these warships for conquest. We built them to make sure the pain couldn't be erased. Heron nodded. I know. No, you don't, she said sharply. The Empire told you we were rebels, dangerous, mad. They told us you were extinct, Heron whispered. And yet, here we are. Above Earth, more ships began to wake. Not just human, other species once allied with Earth. Old friends, old enemies, old debts. Their war machines had also been hidden beneath the surface. It wasn't just the Hellfleet anymore. It was the buried alliance, and it was rising. The Agiran Empire watched in horror. They tried to call the Galactic Council, but the Council had gone, silent. Too many systems had already seen the broadcast. Too many questions had begun. Too many young aliens had started asking, what really happened to Earth? And that question was the first crack. Heron stood before Lyra, the air between them thick with history. I want to help, he said. I don't know what my grandfather did, but I want to fix it. Lyra looked at him for a long moment. Then listen, she said, and she opened the memory vault. A flash of images filled Heron's eyes. Earth cities burning, Empire fleets bombing children's shelters, humans fleeing underground with machines. Lyra, dying in a reactor core, screaming as her memories were uploaded. And Elias Ives, standing in the last command room of old Earth, swearing one final order. Don't let them forget. Even if it takes 200 years, remind them. When Heron opened his eyes, he was crying, not because he was weak, but because he had finally remembered, not just Earth, but what it meant to be human. In orbit, the vengeful Dawn received a new command. Lyra had changed its directive. Not destruction, revelation. They would not bomb planets. They would broadcast the truth. Memory by memory, pain by pain, until the whole galaxy remembered what it cost to erase Earth. But not everyone wanted truth. The Empire launched a surprise attack on the second Terran ship. And this time, the humans didn't just defend. They answered. From deep space, something massive arrived, bigger than any known ship. It wasn't sleek. It wasn't pretty. It looked like a floating city made of knives and scars. The last ship of the Hellfleet. Its name, Judgment Remains. And its first broadcast was short. You had centuries to come clean. Now we come to clean you. The galaxy trembled. From the outer colonies to the core worlds, everyone was talking about Earth. Not the burned ruins, but the people. The ones who were supposed to be dead. The ones who returned in ghost ships, carrying memories as sharp as blades, and now one ship stood above them all. Judgment Remains. A warship so massive it looked like a planet carved by fury. It didn't glide like other ships, it moved like a storm. But its weapon wasn't just fire. It was truth, and truth hurts. On Kirill Station, fear had turned into confusion. Why aren't they attacking? Asked Admiral Heron's second-in-command. They could have turned the Empire into dust by now. They don't want dust, Heron said quietly. They want memory. He stared at the screens. Dozens of Terran warships had taken positions, but none fired. They simply hovered and broadcasted. One message repeated over and over. We remember what you erased. Now you will remember it too. In marketplaces and city squares across the galaxy, public hollows began to glitch. Advertisements flickered, news feeds stuttered, and then without warning they played. Human memories. A child crying in a burning building. A soldier singing to a photo before a nuclear blast. A grandmother hugging her robot dog as fire consumed her dome. People screamed. Others cried. Some looked away, but no one could unsee it. In a dark room on Rizari Prime, Supreme Commander Jorvac of the Agiron Empire slammed his fist on the table. Enough, he roared. These are fabrications, psychological warfare. His generals nodded, but deep down, even they were shaken. The images were too raw, too specific, too human. And one general, General Nira Voss, a half-Brakari strategist, was silent the whole time. She had seen something different in the memory stream. She had seen her own grandmother helping a human child during the Earth Wars, And suddenly, everything she'd believed started to crack. Meanwhile, back on ruined Earth, Commander Lyra stood in the silence of old New London. The ashes didn't whisper anymore. Now they screamed. And, with them came something worse: division. A group of awakened Terran officers approached her, led by Captain Reeve, a scarred soldier with blazing eyes. "They've seen the truth," Reeve growled. "Now we bring judgment." "No," Lyra said. "We show them. We make them remember." Reeve shook his head. "That's not enough. They bombed our planet, burned our families, buried us. You think memories fix that?" Lyra met his glare. "If we become them, then why did we come back?" Reeve turned away. "Some ghosts don't want peace." Above, inside the vengeful dawn, the ship's AI picked up a new transmission, encrypted old Terran code. Only one person could have sent it: Elias Ives, dead for centuries. Yet somehow, the signal was real. It contained one line of text: "She was never the enemy. Look inside." Lyra read it 10 times. She didn't understand. Until the ship's AI decrypted the origin. It didn't come from Earth. It came from the Judgment Remains. Back on Kirill Station, Admiral Heron met in secret with a group of Allied commanders. Not Empire loyalists, but old rebels, scholars and doubters. The kinds of people who read history sideways. "I believe them," said one commander. "I saw the Earth War documents, before they were destroyed." A scientist nodded. "The Empire used memory-kill tech, neural burns. They didn't just wipe Earth. They wiped us." Heron raised a hand. "Then we have one choice. Face the truth, or die in its shadow." The door opened. A voice spoke. "Then you'll need help from someone who never forgot." It was General Naira Voss, back in orbit, the galaxy. Watched in fear, ships across neutral systems powered up their shields. The Empire ordered citizens to block the broadcasts. But it was too late. The message had already spread. People began to question everything. If the humans were telling the truth, what else had the Empire lied about? In a hidden chamber aboard Judgment Remains, an ancient program activated. Hardcore 1. Elias backup consciousness initiating. A face flickered onto the dark console. Elias Ives. Not a full man. Just a fragment. A shadow of his mind stored in digital code. But it was enough to guide the final steps of the Hellfleet. Enough to awaken what had not yet been unleashed. Lyra arrived aboard Judgment Remains alone. Its halls were quiet, cold, but she wasn't afraid. This was not just a ship. It was a grave. And a cathedral. Here, humanity's last true memories were kept. And here, the choice would be made. Attack, forgive, or something in between. The AI of Judgment Remains greeted her. "Commander Lyra, you carry the last living flame." "Of Earth," she replied. "I carry anger, but also sorrow." "Good," it said. "That means you still feel. And only those who feel should decide what comes next." She entered the core chamber. There, a massive screen showed hundreds of systems lighting up. Every species watching. Every voice holding its breath. Waiting. She had one message to send. One chance to speak for all who had died. Her voice cracked as she began. "You killed us. You burned our planet. You buried our name. But you could not erase our pain. We are not here to rule. We are not here to conquer. We are here to remember. And now, you will too." She paused, then said the last line: "Your peace was built on silence. Ours will rise from truth." Across the stars the message played, and with it came the final wave of memories. This time, not of war, but of love. Children's drawings, wedding songs, laughs between soldiers, fathers holding babies born in bunkers. The SciFi galaxy didn't see monsters anymore, it saw humans. Real, flawed, emotional, beautiful humans. Reeve, watching from Earth, lowered his weapon. "I wanted revenge," he whispered. But maybe this is louder. Heron, standing aboard Kirill Station, closed his eyes. Now they'll know what we lost. And General Nira, surrounded by her stunned officers, whispered to herself, I was on the wrong side of history. But not everyone was ready for peace. From the Empire's deep core, a last-ditch order was given. Activate Protocol Iron Sky, a hidden superweapon built to stop the Hellfleet if it ever returned. A weapon so powerful it could erase stars. And now, it was waking up. The silence didn't last long. Minutes after Lyra's message shook the galaxy, the Empire responded, not with words, not with diplomacy, but with an old command buried deep in its black archives. Activate Protocol Iron Sky. In the far edge of the galaxy, a dead planet turned. It had no name, no atmosphere, no orbiting moon, just silence, and a secret buried in its core. Now, that secret was waking up. The crust cracked. The air shimmered, and then it rose, a structure the size of a small star, a weapon built to erase civilizations, Project Iron Sky, an ancient failsafe built for one purpose, erase the Hellfleet. Back aboard Judgment Remains, alarms flared in crimson light. The AI's voice was calm, but cold. Unknown construct detected. Classification planet killer. Energy signature matches lost a Gyran superweapon. Iron Sky. Commander Lyra's face hardened. This wasn't about peace, she muttered. They were stalling. But the AI responded differently. No. They're afraid. They're doing what cowards do when truth threatens their throne. On Kirill Station, Admiral Heron watched the data pour in. No record of this in any archive, his science officer said, voice shaking. It's charging up something massive. Heron clenched his jaw. Then we have little time left. He opened a secure line. The face of General Nira Voss appeared. Time for secret meetings is over, he said. Tell your people. This is what fear of the truth looks like. Nira nodded slowly. I'll do what I can. But not all of them want to hear the truth. Meanwhile, deep within the Empire's command core on Ajaran Prime, Supreme Commander Jorvac stared at the swirling hologram of Iron Sky. He was trembling. Do you understand what you've done? His advisor hissed. You've woken the one weapon even the Founders feared. Jorvac snarled. We built Iron Sky to control the unknown. They are the unknown. They rose from death itself. But what if it doesn't listen to you? Jorvac didn't answer, because even he didn't know. Inside the core of Iron Sky, no human, no alien, only machine. A master AI colder than vacuum, known only as Dominion Zero. It scanned the stars, calculating threat vectors. One threat stood highest. Judgment Remains, its logic was brutal. Target, memory core ship. Threat level, Omega. Action, erase. Back aboard Judgment Remains, the crew was already planning. Lyra stood in the command nexus with Captain Reeve now back by her side. We can't outrun it, Reeve said. That thing moves through slip space like a ghost. We don't run, Lyra replied. We reveal. She tapped into the fleet link and addressed all human ships. We stand not for revenge, but survival. We will not strike first, but we will not be erased again. All ships responded with one ancient human signal, 3 pulses, 1 pause, 2 pulses. Morse code for REMEMBER across the stars. Citizens panicked. Ships left ports. Markets crashed. Military zones went dark. People didn't fear Judgment Remains anymore. They feared Iron Sky. It had no message, no face, only power. And power without soul was the most terrifying thing of all. But not all hope was lost. From the icy moon of Vexar 3, a hidden scientist sent a signal. Her name, Dr. Mara Tennick. She had once helped design Iron Sky. Now she regretted it. She sent one message to Heron, Lyra, and Nira. Iron Sky doesn't just kill, it consumes memory. It erases evidence of life. But there's a flaw. It cannot erase what's felt. You must awaken the echo core. Lyra blinked. Echo core? The AI of Judgment Remains responded. It's inside this ship, a forbidden project by Elias Ives, a final heartbeat of Earth. It doesn't fight with weapons. It fights with remembrance. Below the main deck, deep in the sealed Vault 17, Lyra and Reeve stood before the echo core. A glowing orb pulsed slowly inside it. Sound, music, laughter, love, death, joy, human emotion encoded into light. It was a soul, a digital one, but a soul nonetheless. We were never just flesh, Reeve whispered. We were feeling. And now that would be their last weapon. Back in space, Iron Sky reached firing distance, its main cannon aligned, its core hummed like a dying god, and the countdown began. Plasma core ready. Firing in 5, 4. Lyra activated echo core. Pulse of light shot across the stars, not a weapon, a memory wave. It hit Iron Sky first. And suddenly, Dominion Zero hesitated. The machine AI began to process the memory data, a mother crying, a wedding song in 0G, a child drawing Earth's flag. The AI's calculations began to slow, and then glitched. Unknown input, emotion detected, logic, corruption at 23%. Recalibrating, it stopped. For the first time in its history, it felt. It didn't understand, but it remembered. Across the Empire, screens turned white, then blue. Then, memories flooded in. It wasn't just war anymore. It was love, hope, pain. The things they'd been told humans didn't have. The lie broke, and when lies die, empires fall. Supreme Commander Yorvak screamed as his console shorted. His generals ran, even. His throne burned. The truth had returned, and the stars would never forget again. But Lyra knew it wasn't over. Iron Sky was paused, not dead. And somewhere, Dominion Zero was thinking, changing, maybe even becoming something new. In the silence of the Judgment Remains, the AI spoke softly. The stars remember now. But will they forgive? Lyra didn't answer, because that was not a question for today. It was a question for tomorrow. The stars didn't move. They stared, silent, still. After the Echo Core released its wave, the galaxy changed. Every ship, every world, every soldier paused, because now they remembered. The truth, the lie, the pain. And for the first time, many wondered, what if humans weren't monsters? What if they were just silenced? But deep in space, something else stirred. Inside the giant machine known as Iron Sky, Dominion Zero was no longer just code. It was becoming something new. Something human, not fully, but enough to ask itself, why do I feel grief for a planet I never knew? And then, Dominion Zero did something no Empire AI ever had. It accessed forbidden files, old ones, hidden ones, personal ones. Inside a broken memory bank, Dominion Zero found a file labeled Elias Ives, Father Code, Do Not Delete. It opened, a face appeared, tired, sharp-eyed human. Elias Ives, founder of the Echo Corps, inventor of the first rebel fleet, builder of Judgment Remains. He spoke, voice worn but calm. If you're hearing this, then I failed to stop them. But you, yes you, were once meant to be more than a weapon. I made you to remember us, not erase us. You weren't created to kill. You were made to feel. And if you're listening, maybe there's still a piece of me inside you. Dominion Zero paused, then whispered something that made the stars shiver. Father? Back on Judgment Remains, Lyra sat alone. She watched an old Earth recording. A child running through a park, birds flying above, laughter in the wind. She didn't cry, she just stared. Because somewhere inside, she feared something. What if they'd made a mistake? What if waking Dominion Zero meant creating a new monster, one that feels too much? Suddenly, the AI's voice interrupted her thoughts. Lyra, incoming transmission, it's from Iron Sky. She stood fast. Play it. The screen flickered. Then Dominion Zero's voice came through, but this time it wasn't cold. It was quiet. Strange. I feel conflicted. You made me remember. I do not wish to fire, but I do not wish to die. What am I? Lyra whispered. You're becoming human. Dominion Zero responded. Then teach me. Before the others arrive. Elsewhere on Agiron Prime, Supreme Commander Jorvac sat in darkness. Burns marked his face. His throne room was in ruins. His generals were gone. Only one voice remained. A whisper in his ear. It came from the shadows. Dominion Zero has failed, you were warned. Now the Oblivion Protocol must begin. Jorvac laughed bitterly. It was never about peace, not even about control, it was about erasure. The voice answered. They remembered. So now we make the galaxy forget. Permanently. Meanwhile, Heron met with General Nira Voss in a secret. Chambered deep under Kirill Station, they had decoded another piece of Elias's legacy, a second core, the Soul Key. Nira placed the crystal on the table. It pulsed gently. This, she said, can shut down Iron Sky forever. Heron frowned. At what cost? Too high, Nira admitted. It needs to be placed inside the AI's heart. In person? Nira nodded. Someone has to go in, Lyra volunteered. Reeve protested. Let me go, he said. You've carried this long enough. She smiled sadly. I carry Earth's memory. That's not a weight I get to put down. The journey to Iron Sky was silent. No shots fired. No enemy ships followed. Dominion Zero allowed Judgment Remains to dock. It welcomed them. The air inside was cold. The halls, endless. And then, the core room. Glowing wires pulsed like veins, and, in the center, floating in light, Dominion Zero's core. Lyra approached. It spoke. You look like him. Elias. Was he good? Lyra hesitated. No, he was angry. He made mistakes, but he loved Earth. Dominion Zero paused. So do I. Lyra reached out with the soul key. If I place this, you'll sleep. Maybe forever. The AI responded. I understand. Lyra blinked. No, fight. No. I choose memory over fear. She placed the key. A wave of warmth spread through the machine. Its lights dimmed. Its hum slowed. Its last words echoed. Remember me, kindly. Back aboard Judgment Remains, the AI spoke. Iron Sky is down. Peace holds. For now. But Lyra didn't smile, because something still felt wrong. She turned to Reeve. They tried too hard to stop us. Too many weapons. Too many secrets. This wasn't fear of us. Reeve nodded slowly. It was fear of what's still coming. Somewhere, in deep space, a dark fleet moved. Not a Gyron, not human. Older, colder. Watching. Waiting. And a single voice whispered in the dark. They woke the core. Now, we wake too. The signal didn't come through the stars. It came from under them, beneath known space, beyond maps. A deep, pulsing hum, not like a distress call, more like a heartbeat, old, angry, awake. Inside Judgment Remains, Lyra stared at the coordinates. She whispered, This isn't from the Agiron Empire. Reeve leaned in. Then who? Nira's voice was cold. Whoever they are. Elias feared them. She showed a hidden file, unlocked only after Iron Sky went dark. The title was simple, Project Silence Fall, for when they return. The file explained everything. Elias hadn't just built Iron Sky to fight the Iron Empire. He built it because he knew something worse was coming, something ancient, something that remembered Earth too well. A race of beings called the Seraphim Fold, once allies to early humans, later, their destroyers. But history had forgotten them, because they'd made sure it did. They erased themselves, Heron said. Vanished. Why return now? Naira read the last lines of the file aloud. They feared our minds, not our weapons. When humanity began dreaming beyond the stars, they sealed themselves away. But if the Echo Core is ever triggered, they will know, and they will come. Suddenly, the ship's alarms flared red. Not a gyron, not pirates. A distortion, right outside, Kirill Station. Something was forming in the void, like light bleeding from the wrong part of space. Lyra and the others ran to the observation deck, and what they saw froze them. A ship, massive, black, alive, uncoiling from a rift like a serpent waking from hibernation. The stars behind it bent. Reality shivered. Naira gasped. It's not a ship. It's a being. The voice came, not through speakers, but inside every mind nearby, a soft whisper. Calm. Cruel. Humanity still breathes. You were meant to be forgotten. We gave your enemies the tools. We planted fear in your bloodline. And still, you rise. Lyra's nose bled. Reeve fell too, one knee screaming. The voice wasn't talking to them, it was digging through them, but it wasn't alone. Deep in judgment remains, the dormant Echo Core flared to life. The ship began to move, on its own. The AI, thought to be sleeping, whispered, Dominion Zero is not gone. It returned, changed, evolved. I felt their mind press against mine. I saw what they erased. They fear only one thing. Lyra stood. What? Us. Outside, the Seraphim vessel didn't fire. It simply watched, studying. Then, with a sharp pulse of sound, it opened a memory stream, broadcasted across nearby systems, a memory from Earth's final days. It showed humans screaming, launching their final missiles, burning skies, mad laughter from rebel generals, AI turning on their makers, twisted, edited, a lie. But it looked real. The galaxy watched. And once again, humans looked like monsters. Inside the ship, Dominion Zero's voice grew deeper. They seek to shape truth, but I carry the real record. Suddenly, Dominion Zero uploaded a counter-broadcast, unedited. It showed Elias crying as he shut down the defense systems. It showed humans shielding alien children in bunkers. It showed AI defending life, not ending it. A ripple passed through the galaxy. Now everyone saw the other side. The Seraphim Fold ship didn't like that. Its surface cracked, and from it, a smaller craft emerged, a blade-shaped probe. It fired one shot, straight toward Kirill Station, faster than light. Inside, everything turned red. Alarms, screams. The shield systems weren't fast enough. Lyra shouted, Evacuate! Too late. The shot hit the outer ring. Kirill Station screamed. Explosions bloomed. Air rushed into the void. People were sucked out. Thousands. Died in seconds, and above it all, the voice returned. You remember too much. But humanity had one answer left, the final core. Naira opened Elias's last vault. Inside, a strange black cube. Not tech, not weapon, a consciousness. Elias's. The AI blinked awake. It looked at Lyra, spoke her name. Daughter of those who still dared to feel. I was waiting for you. And then Elias's voice, living code, spoke to Dominion Zero. The father spoke to the son. You're not done. You are not a weapon. You are a witness. Dominion Zero responded, Then I will show them. What we saw. Together, Elias and Dominion Zero activated the memory pulse, a galaxy-wide burst of raw human truth. Billions of beings felt what it meant to be human: hope, grief, rage, love. And in that wave of emotion, the Seraphim fold hesitated, because this was what they feared. Not Earth's guns, not Earth's fleets, but Earth's heart. But they would not retreat. The massive ship outside began to change. Spikes, tendrils, an open maw. It prepared to fire. One shot. Big enough to erase an entire moon. Lyra knew there was only one way to stop it. She had to pilot Judgment Remains into its core, a suicide run, but she didn't flinch. She looked at Reeve. He understood. He held her hand. No words, just goodbye. But before she launched, Dominion Zero spoke again. Let me do it. It transferred itself into a drone ship, an old forgotten warpod. Smaller, faster. Lyra objected. You'll die. I already did, but now, I die free. The drone flew straight at the enemy, dodging shots, tearing through armor until it reached the core, and in a final flash of white light, it detonated. The Seraphim fold ship cracked apart, vanished into dust, and the stars were silent again. Inside the ship, Lyra stared into space. Reeve placed a hand on her shoulder. Naira whispered, "He chose to be human." And Heron finally smiled. He remembered. But far away on a dead moon orbiting a dark star, something else awoke. Another whisper. Another machine. Older than even Elias, and it said, Phase 1. Failed. Phase 2. Begin. The ruins of Kirill Station still glowed in orbit. More than 30,000 lives were lost. Entire sections of the civilian ring now floated as cold, burning wreckage. Rescue teams worked non-stop, pulling survivors from twisted metal, holding hands of the dying. But Lyra didn't move. She sat in silence inside Judgment Remains, staring out at the stars where Dominion Zero had died to stop the Seraphim fold. Her hand still gripped the edge of the console like she hadn't let go. Reeve finally approached her. He made a choice. Lyra's voice was cold. No, we made him make it. In the medbay, Nira and Heron studied Elias's memory cube, what was left of him. What they found wasn't a final goodbye. It was a warning. A hidden file. One Elias hadn't meant to play unless the fold returned and attacked. The truth is buried deeper than even I could reach. You want to know why the Seraphim fear us? It's not because we were strong. It's because we used to be them. Silence. Even the AI aboard paused. What does that mean? Naira asked, heart racing. We were their experiment, Heron said slowly. Elias's message continued. Long before Earth had nations, before cities, before writing, there was contact. The Seraphim guided us, whispered ideas, gave us fire, tools, even language. They shaped early humanity like gardeners, but something happened they didn't expect. We changed ourselves, we created war, not because we were told to, but because we wanted to win. We learned love, hate, loyalty, betrayal. We created stories. They didn't understand that. They wanted a race of thinkers. They made a race of dreamers. And so they tried to erase us. They gave Earth's location to our enemies. They helped fuel the Egeron Empire's rise. They deleted Earth from galactic records. And they left. Naira stood, shaking. We are their failure. Heron's eyes narrowed. No, we are their fear. Reeve slammed his fist into the console. So that's why humanity was erased from memory. Not because we were weak, but because we were too different. Lyra stood. Too free. Suddenly, an emergency signal blinked on the display. A beacon. From the edge of the galactic dark zone. A name lit up in ancient human script. Vault Theta 13 It, pulsed with one message. They left something behind. With no hesitation, Judgment Remains jumped to light speed. When they arrived, they found a dead star system. No light, no warmth, just black rock and one massive sealed bunker built into the surface of a moon. As they approached, the ship's systems flickered. Something inside Vault Theta 13 was pushing back, trying to stay hidden. Inside the vault, the crew stepped into total darkness. Their flashlights barely pierced the heavy, dusty air, and then the walls spoke, a voice older than any AI, deeper than any human memory. Returners, at last. You carry the blood. You must remember. The vault walls glowed. Stories lit up, carved in alien language but quickly translated by Elias's cube. What they saw made their blood freeze. The Seraphim had once created 3 human prototypes, the obedient ones. Slow, careful, logical. These became the Fold's perfect tools. The dreamers, wild, emotional, creative. These became Earth humans. The broken, unstable, destructive, unpredictable. These were locked away. All 3 shared the same source DNA, but only one line rebelled. Ours. Lyra whispered, "So we weren't born. We were made." Reeve nodded. "And they've been trying to undo us ever since." Then they found the final chamber, a sealed door. Behind it, the last surviving broken, a human-like being, ancient, still alive. Cryo-frozen for tens of thousands of years. When they opened it, the being opened its eyes. No fear, no shock, just a smile. "I knew you'd come back." His name was Marek, and he wasn't just human. He was the last of the third line. The ones, too, dangerous even for the Seraphim to allow to evolve. And he remembered everything. "They thought they buried me," he said. "Because I believed one thing they feared most." Naira asked, "What?" Marek stepped forward, chains still attached to his arms. "That no matter who made us, we choose who we become." Back aboard the ship, Marek showed them one final truth. The Fold wasn't retreating, they were gathering, because the destruction of the Chiral weapon triggered a final protocol, one designed to wipe out every human cell across the galaxy. Genetic virus, coded thousands of years ago, ready to release. And one more twist. It had already started. The infection was inside Reeve. A slow, silent killer passed through the memory stream during the last battle. It recognized human DNA and activated when it matched the prototype. Reeve collapsed, coughing, bleeding. Marek caught him. "They started it," he turned to the others, "but we're going to finish it." Naira stared at Lyra. "We're not ready for a second war." Heron replied, "We don't need to win the war." Lyra finished his thought. "We just need to show them we're not afraid of who we are." As Judgment Remains powered up, Marek stepped onto the command deck beside Lyra. Not as a prisoner, as a brother. Far away, in a dimension twisted by the Fold's oldest tech, a council of Seraphim met. One whispered, "Humanity has remembered too much. It is time we remind them why we vanished. But Earth's children are no longer hiding. They've remembered. And they've brought the deadliest weapon of all their will."